Crossbreed.
Crossbreed.
Do you think it's a crossbreed?
He's gonna crossbreed with polar bears and spend the rest of the winter in Hawaii.
In your world, he died at the age of 17, gored to death, while trying to crossbreed a bull with a Clydesdale.
You can't crossbreed between different species.
We did not crossbreed two species.
杂种，一种交配。
Crosscheck.
Crosscheck.
Crosscheck the secure cell phone usage of everyone with SCI clearance against all calls going in and out of Turin, Italy the morning Ross was there.
Well, crosscheck this tape against Wix and hold any intersects.
We pulled his background and run a crosscheck on any known anomalies.
We will cross-check the data on that for sure.
We're going to have to cross-check her entire class's scores.
反复核对。
Crossfire.
Crossfire.
My outfit was pinned down by the most murderous crossfire you ever saw.
Sometimes people like yourself get caught in the crossfire.
They got us caught in the crossfire.
Watch that crossfire, boys.
交叉火力。
Crossing.
Crossing.
Now, me crossing the border by myself?
I'll tell you what's crossing the line.
I'm crossing here.
Obviously, when they build a bridge like this, they take into account that elephants will be crossing here.
That was you crossing the road?
横越。
Crossover.
Crossover.
When you do cross over, dribble right by you.
Coastal Command will activate 2 crossover air patrols.
I can rig our frequency in 30 minutes while we're in a crossover and we're hot.
I've been thinking about the crossover tour a lot.
This hand protects the crossover, all right?
转到另一方。
Crossroad.
Crossroad.
At a crossroad back there, a car might have gone over the spots of paint, picked some up on the tires, and left his false trail.
I suppose you're one of those fellows who does the Times Crossroad puzzle in 10 minutes.
I'm gonna hold this crossroad.
Meanings that kind of crossroad.
Stand by for Blue Force platoon and crossroad.
交叉路。
Crosswalk.
Crosswalk.
I failed to yield at a crosswalk.
I feel there needs to be a crosswalk on Trent Avenue between Frost and Allegheny.
Maybe we should look for a crosswalk?
Right over there, in the middle of the crosswalk.
You really should cross at the crosswalk.
行人穿越道。
Crossword.
Crossword.
Doing the crossword?
Half a dozen crossword enthusiasts in a tiny village in the south of England.
I solved a crossword puzzle in the newspaper, and I got this letter saying that I was a candidate for some sort of mysterious job.
I'll just finish my crossword puzzle. You know, sometimes in the mornings, I just stare at him over room service. Watch him do the crossword puzzle.
纵横填字游戏。
Crotch.
Crotch.
And what he was doing is he had a bottle of Gold Bond powder in his hand, and he was dumping it all over his crotch.
I just spilled hot cocoa on my crotch.
Little crotch pot cooking.
So I can rub myself into your crotch and wake you up.
Y2K fire crotch is best.
分叉处。
Crouch.
Crouch.
Crouch down behind the tree. Here.
Don't let him crouch you.
You were my history teacher, Mr. Crouch.
To explain all this, we have the head of the Department of International Magical Cooperation, Mr. Bartimus Crouch.
蹲伏，蹲下，低头。
Crow.
Crow.
Tablet, portable phone, charger, and crow extraction kit. Oh, if there's a crow in there, fine. Sam Crow, community servant.
Why are you talking to the crew?
You ever heard him mention the name Leo Crow?
啼叫。
Crowbar.
Crowbar.
Big crowbar, yeah, bud.
Crowbar, yeah.
Done with a bloody crowbar.
Got drunk, smashed a car up with a crowbar.
Well, why don't I run down to the garage and see if I can't find a crowbar to jimmy that thing open?
铁挺。
Crowd.
Crowd.
A huge crowd full of huge Midwestern people looking all disapproving and judging me while sipping little cups of mayonnaise and cracking runaway bride jokes all night long.
And the crowd is going crazy.
But Joe says they got the fire marshals there to keep some of the crowd out.
Got in with the wrong crowd, and she really only comes around when she needs money.
Here they come, the Flint Tropics Ball Girls cheerleading squad, keeping the crowd energized through the timeout.
群众 拥挤
Crowded.
Crowded.
Bunch of Russian flags out front, and it was crowded.
And that's why it seemed like a pretty good idea to me to get boys out of crowded cities and stuffy basements for a couple of months out of the year.
I do so long to go through the crowded streets of your mighty London, to be in the midst of the whirl and the rush of humanity.
Then I saw him across the crowded room, and I knew there could be life after Dwayne.
拥挤的
Crown.
Crown.
Really? You're crying over the crown molding and the real hardwood floors?
Now, this asshole is right now the crown prince of Al Qaeda in Iraq.
To crown this year's Miss Teen Sweetwater, my fellow former and the director of the Blue Bonnet Pageant, 10-time recipient of the Best Texas Pageant Award.
We placed the jewel inside the crown and marked it with gold.
王冠始成王
Crowned.
Crowned.
Champion will be crowned, and good luck to you all.
From now on, 2 victors may be crowned if both originate from the same district.
I will be crowned king tomorrow.
This exile, crept from the shadows, will never be crowned king.
This is the hall of supreme harmony, where your majesty was crowned.
戴王冠的
Crucial.
Crucial.
Here's my crucial point.
In this kind of situation, time is crucial.
It's a surprisingly crucial detail, because
决定性的
Crucible.
Crucible.
Fiery crucible in which the only true heroes are forged. Battle is the great redeemer. The fiery crucible in which the only true heroes are forged. The fiery crucible in which the only true heroes are forged.
Welcome to the Malibu Beach Junior Rescue Crucible.
Why are you making your daughter read the Crucible?
干锅
Crucifix.
Crucifix.
For example, the crucifix.
It was stated that this object was a crucifix.
So, I grabbed this crucifix out from my nightstand, right?
The glare off Angela's crucifix? It's blinding.
There was a crucifix and a picture of Saint.
十字架
Crucifixion.
Crucifixion.
He's going to do a crucifixion, but he's doing it in Fresno.
Johnny.
Centuries after his crucifixion, Christ's followers had grown exponentially and had started a religious war against the pagans.
Crucifixion party!
It's crucifixion, really.
Some people think the crucifixion only took place on Calvary.
在十字架上钉死的刑罚
Crucify.
Crucify.
Are you out to crucify me?
But if you fuck me on this, I'll crucify you.
Crucify him.
If they hear you, they'll crucify you.
Won't Larry crucify you for that?
十字架上钉死
Crude.
Crude.
Upright ape, living in dust with crude language and tools, all set for extinction.
Crude, simplistic, but...
Do you have to be so crude about it?
Lucy, please, no crude talk.
This is only a first crude effort.
天然的物质
Cruel.
Cruel.
Hey, don't be cruel.
Is that the cruel trick life's played on you?
She's cruel, ain't she?
Justice and your father's wrath, should he take me in his dominion, could not be so cruel to me as you, O dearest of creatures.
You think I'm cruel?
残酷的
Cruelty.
Cruelty.
But imagine the cruelty their brothers endured at our hands.
I really believe that anyone who's even thinking about having a child in this world is coldly considering an act of cruelty.
She does not deserve your cruelty.
Their cruelty to my people is all I've known.
There isn't a man among us who hasn't suffered from Sabat's cruelty.
残酷
Cruise.
Cruise. Hop in the lifeboat and I'll take you back to the cruise ship.
I feel like Tom Cruise in Cocktail.
Normally what you get on these cruise ships is your desperate single woman hoping to meet a guy, and you sure don't fit the bill.
Sure.
We'll cruise around the bay for a while.
Yeah, well, people say I look like Tom Cruise.
巡航
Cruiser.
Cruiser.
I better get some caution tape out of the cruiser.
Navy guided missile cruiser Appleton.
There isn't enough life on this ice cube to fill a space cruiser.
There's always an alien battle cruiser or a Carillion death ray or an intergalactic plague that's about to wipe out life on this miserable little planet.
We see a cruiser, stop, take out the engine blocks, keep moving.
巡洋舰
Crumb.
Crumb.
Hush, falling over Crumb elbow.
It's that little crumb snatcher.
Listen, you crumb. I don't take this kind of treatment from nobody.
Put a bit of cheese in the hole of your crumb until it go inside.
You've got a crumb on your shirt. You've got...
碎屑捏碎
Crumble.
Crumble.
Ain't nothing like a little fear to make a paper man crumble.
Crumble and become terrified and fall into deep grief.
Society needs to crumble.
Suddenly, the illusion of white power is beginning to crumble.
The sidewalk may crumble underfoot.
粉碎
Crummy.
Crummy.
Crummy acronym.
I'd rather go to my crummy class reunion than do that picture.
If I had any brains, I wouldn't be on this crummy train with this crummy girl's band.
Just picture watching Marla Singer throw herself around her crummy apartment.
You sold me a crummy watch.
丰满的
Crumpet.
Crumpet.
Did Crumpet put you up to this?
Even better now I'm sat next to this bit of crumpet.
Oh, no, fish crumpet. The salt, rat skin, dooley, and crumpet.
You think I give a crumpet what you write in your lousy paper?
烤面饼
Crumple.
Crumple.
I'll crumple them up in my hand.
Just take your feelings, crumple them up into a little ball and shove them down deep.
Now, no matter how much you crumple up a dollar bill, you can never take away its value.
Write it on a cocktail napkin, crumple the napkin up, put it in a glass of water so they can see the ink dissolve.
You have a very impressive crumple zone.
弄皱崩溃
Crunch.
Crunch.
Apple Jacks, Crunch Munch, hotcakes, jelly beans, fries, caviar, crackers, dip, all crap.
French toast it is.
I'm in a bit of a crunch here, so let's cut right to the ooey gooey center. So wrap your mind around that, Captain Crunch. This game's in crunch time.
嘎吱嘎吱的咬嚼咬碎
Crusade.
Crusade.
Children's crusade, huh?
Well, they want to put the...
Men, you are about to embark on a great crusade to stamp out runaway decency in the West.
Still pursuing his ridiculous crusade.
The Knights of the First Crusade laid siege to the city of Alexandria for over a year.
Kill Mulder. We take the risk of turning one man's quest into a crusade.
改革运动从事改革运动
Crusader.
Crusader.
A young crusader.
Does anyone have any idea who this wetsuit crusader is?
Like a crusader.
Nancy Hollander. Some humanitarian crusader down in Albuquerque.
Oh, that's a rather interesting position coming from a man on a crusade against the evils of technology.
十字军战士
Crush.
Crush.
I thought maybe I had a crush on you in freshman year.
Please do it because he has a crush on you. And he's not going to yell at you and he always yells, oh my God, Evie.
Man, we're going to crush the cupcake competition.
Well, you know, you have a little crush on me.
What would you say if I was to say that I was developing a little crush on you?
压碎压迫被压碎
Crusher.
Crusher.
It means the crusher.
So now we got a huge guy theory and a serial crusher theory.
Which had once held the town's ore crusher, but of which only the heavy flywheel now remained.
You're a dream crusher.
碾碎机
Crushing.
Crushing.
Drag an entire ship down to the crushing darkness.
Face it, Tiffany, you've been crushing on Bobby ever since 9th grade.
Yeah.
Oh, you're crushing my legs.
Tommy's crushing me.
Till I figured out he was crushing on Lydia.
碾碎的
Crust.
Crust.
B-men don't do thick crust.
No crust?
Or am I to beg along the highways for a crust?
That's a pie crust, promise.
We'll call it fresh lobster in a cassava and tipali crust.
外壳盖以硬皮 结硬皮。
Crustacean.
Crustacean.
As fine a crustacean as a man could ask for.
Before I turn this conniving crustacean into fish meal, who here has anything to say about Eugene Krabs?
Dry this out. You have an encrustation.
If you wanted to dump me, you didn't have to invent some crustacean virgin.
Croatian.
Lobster thermidor is coming up, and I am going to have to murder and dismember a crustacean.
甲壳纲的甲壳纲动物。
Crusty.
Crusty.
A crusty but benign managing editor who's always getting
Crusty, bitter, irascible.
I may be crusty, but I'm not blind.
We've seen your crusty sheets.
You think I'm going for your dried up, crusty ass?
有硬皮的。
Crutch.
Crutch.
Christ on a crutch.
Give me my crutch.
It's our guy with a crutch on the monitor.
It'd be nice to have a faculty member whose crutch wasn't Prozac.
Oh, Christ on a crutch, Craig.
拐杖支撑。
Crux.
Crux.
Here is the crux of your problem.
I only just destroyed a bloody whole crux.
Only an expert would have spotted that you were hanged to within an inch of your life. The last inch being the crux of the matter.
The crux of it is, in the firm's thinking, the party's over as of this morning.
This is the crux of the biscuit.
十字架形。
Cry.
Cry.
But I don't actually cry in front of people or...
Corny, but I really think they do good acting on the they really cry and they laugh.
Cry at all, for that matter.
I'm thinking I'm gonna have another baby and I cry.
Yeah, if you were, you wouldn't cry every time you hung up the phone. You're talking to your mommy.
叫声、哭、叫喊。
Crypt.
Crypt.
Got any special feelings about crypt?
However, by comparison, your work in the crypt was more akin to a finger painting.
I'm heading down to the crypt. There's an entrance east of the Sword Mountains in the Crypt Garden Forest, from which we may descend to the ruins of Dublin.
This crypt goes all the way under the bank.
土教。
Cryptic.
Cryptic.
Cryptic, he says.
If that's too cryptic, let's get literal.
It's cryptic.
So, you're being strangely cryptic as you wrap your magic hair around my injured hand?
You were awfully cryptic on the phone.
神秘的。
Crystal.
Crystal.
Crystal Bryant.
Hey, I'm Crystal.
Transfer all data to Crystal Board.
Yeah, who's looking for a little crystal, man? You see crystal?
水晶，水晶的。
Crystalline.
Crystalline.
And that sufficient absorption would result in nuclear fission of the aluminum atom in an isotopic form with crystalline affinities.
It has a crystalline structure.
Perfect, genuine, complete, crystalline, pure.
Somewhere, sometime, abandoned crystalline power throws a switch.
The structure appears to be crystalline, at least from the angle that's displayed by Ares 8. Now,
透明的。
Crystallize.
Crystallize.
But it will crystallize,
By midday, it's probably going to push on to the east of us, and at high altitudes, it's going to crystallize and give us what we call snow.
Star sapphires take a week to crystallize properly.
the liquid in the lungs will crystallize.
Things are beginning to crystallize.
使结晶，结晶。
Cub.
Cub. And that cub was you. He ran so fast, he didn't notice the cub he left behind.
It's a man cub.
Junior researcher, cub reporter, assistant editor.
The traveler protecting his cub.
右手。
Cubby.
Cubby.
As a matter of fact, I do, Cubby.
Cubby, I'd like to speak on the record for a moment.
That was all off the record, Cubby.
What kind of piece are you writing, Cubby?
You mind putting this in the cubby for me?
小房间。